Good evening, everyone. We are now in Rosh Chodesh Av. משנכנס Av ממעטים בשמחה. When the month of Av comes in, there's less happiness. And just like every year, starting 17 of Tammuz, 17 Tammuz, more and more tragedy is happening. Starting with everyday people drowning in the ocean in Israel, almost every day, 1, 2, 5. And then the most important person in the world, Rabbi Yosef, passed away from 7 billion people. The most important, it's a disaster not only for Am Israel, it's a disaster for the whole world, but mainly for us. And people think, I heard someone saying, what do you want? He was 102 years old. Everyone lives in the end. We shouldn't be so upset. But the people don't understand that even if a rabbi he could be 110 years old, and even Chas v'Shalom connected to machines and can talk, he cannot do anything. So technically you think, what is he doing for us anymore? He's disconnected from us anyway. Just his existence in the world prevent many, many tragedies. As if you saw, the day that he passed away, there was a terrorist attack. After relatively, there was a while that there was no suicide bomber against Jews. If you remember, there's quite of a few months that we didn't hear about committing suicide. And Hashem did it to us on the day of Rabbi Yosef passing away. Why is it? Everything we have to use our head. We can't take things for granted. We have to think, what's going on? The answer is, Rabbi Yosef is affecting about 2 million Jews in the world. All the Frum Jews, no matter what kind of Frum, Hasidish, Litvish, Sfaradi, Yemenite, modern Orthodox, even conservative, people who know the big holy man, it's affecting them. It bothers them. It's makes them upset. But most of the secular Jews, if you ask them, 80% of them don't even know who he is. They heard about him on the news once or twice, and certain things. Mostly they think negative, because for them, if you don't join the army, that's the most important thing for them. And if they read on the news that the religious people don't join the army as an order of their chief rabbi, so they look at him as Chas v'Shalom as an enemy, not as a big tzaddik that they live thanks to him. They don't see the picture clearly. So most of them don't know what it is. So if you tell them, the most important rabbi in the world passed away, 90% of them doesn't bother them. Those who are connected to tradition still will feel a little bit upset, but no one would sit and cry. So what does Hashem do? He takes 5, 6, 7 Jews, secular Jews in Bulgaria, blow them up, unfortunately. Everyone live and die according to their sins, either in this world and in his previous life. Nobody dies by coincidence, we all know it. And the timing could have been a day more, it could be a day less, but the timing comes on a day that everyone in Am Israel was upset. And also was heavy rain here and storm and trees are broken, that everyone would feel that heaven is crying. Yeah, it could be coincidence, you can say, well, it's nature, it's raining here anyway every 10, 20 days. Everything is fine. We prefer to look at things as a supervision of Hashem than coincidence. But that's not the topic today. Out of courtesy to Rabbi Yosef, I had to say a few words, but today we decided to talk about the subconscious, what we call in Hebrew tat muda. There's conscious and the subconscious. Once, a few years ago, I made that lecture. Today it will be different, of course, than the other one that we made. And we just have to clarify a few things. You know that the mind of a person has 2 channels. It's like 2 different channels. One channel is what we call the conscious. We talk, we hear, we see, we think, we interact with the people, with things around us. That's called conscious, muda. I'm aware of what I do. I hear things and I behave based on what I know. I learn, I see, I remember, etc. Then we have what we call the subconscious, which is almost 99% as a dead thing in our life. It seems that we hardly use it. But every once in a while, the subconscious comes into action and does something. That's what it looks like. But in reality, it's completely wrong, because the subconscious many times affect our life, affect our behaving, much more than the actual conscious. In every transaction that we do, the majority of our movement and excitement and behaving and decisions that we make comes from the subconscious. The conscious, it's like in math. You have something that is changing, but the rest of the formula is routine. The conscious is changing. We hear things, we hear instructions, so we behave based on them. But the subconscious is, our entire life is based on it. And the subconscious is like in a computer. You have a storage. You store all the programs over there. You don't open the programs to check them, but without them you cannot function. Every tiny transaction in your computer needs all these big programs to interact together. If one of them won't work, the entire computer will collapse. This is the way the mind is. The mind, well, in our language as religious people, we understand that this is the neshama, the soul. That everything that we have, whether it's conscious or subconscious, it all comes from the soul. But the subconscious, it's everything we ever heard in our life, everything we ever saw, everything, every beep, everything that around us that we never paid attention with our conscious, it's all recorded automatically to our brain. Which means, not only in this life, if we hear 20, 30, 50 years, so you may think, okay, so from the moment I was born, everything around me, my brain is recording. But my brain can only record what my eye saw. If I'm standing here facing north, my brain cannot record what's behind me in the south. And that's where the mistake is. Everything around you, all the images, everything you hear, every beep you hear from 5 blocks away, every someone screams somewhere a block away, you're not paying attention to it. It's all recorded 100% with no limitation. And then you may say, okay, so that's very impressive that everything that ever happened around me all over my life is recorded, but things that from your previous life is also recorded, which means the soul was in a different body. So if the soul was 100 years ago in Iraq or in France, and you spoke in a different language, and every language you heard was French or Arabic, everything around you from your previous life is also recorded. And then from the life before, and the life before, until the first moment your soul actually came to the world. From the first generation until now. It could be thousands of years. Now, if you ask a person today, okay, can you tell me something from your life 100 years ago in Baghdad? So, Baghdad. Don't know one word in Arabic. I'm not connected to the Arabic mentality. You're talking to me about Baghdad. So how would we withdraw information from the soul about what happened 100 or 500 years ago? So there's a very interesting way to do it. It's actually scientifically proven. We can hypnotize people if you know how to do it. Parapsychologists, they know how to do it. You can make a person into a situation that is totally relaxed, and you withdraw information from his soul. It could be hundreds of years back in history. And you see the person is actually speaking with a different body. Remember, when he was here 100 years ago, it was a different body. He looked different. Now he has black hair, maybe he was blonde in those days. So now you're looking at him, he has a different body, but he speaks in a voice and with the accent and with the language of who he used to be 100 years ago. It's a very interesting combination here. So you're looking at a person now, you hear his voice, he described to you live what he's doing in Iraq 100 years ago, 1900, that's the year. He speaks now in the 21st century in New York. Today he drives a nice car, he has a nice watch, he has a beautiful phone, everything is beautiful. Now he's talking like a farmer in Baghdad with his donkey, an Arab Jew, going somewhere. He's describing a life. And it can be proven. You have videos of people, you hypnotize them, they speak in languages don't understand. And that's fascinating because in medicine they use it to find trauma. People who has trauma, like they can't stop eating. Nobody understands why. They just finish eating. How it can be hungry again? So obviously it's a mental issue. Many people, when they get angry, they run right away to the fridge, to the refrigerator. Even they just finish a big dinner. But a bad rumor came on the phone, right away, his wife opened the phone, 5 packs of chocolate. Or I already know wives, they tell the husband, listen, you get me angry, you're going to pay the price. I'm gaining weight. Why? What's relaxed me is food. Some people, the opposite. Some people, they hear bad news, they can't touch the food. All day, nothing, not even drinking water. I'm not hungry, I'm not in a mood. So you see, two opposite, people behave two opposite, and it's all like a psychological reaction. So today, they try to find traumas in the life of a person to know what caused the problem. So for instance, one time there was a woman who was hundreds of pounds, and she was constantly eating nonstop. And they started to hypnotize her. It took months. They go back in time, another day, and another, until they came to her previous life. They found out she died in a boat. She was in the middle of the ocean. They had many bags of flowers and rice. And what happened is that they hit some kind of ice in the middle of the ocean. There was a hole in the bottom of the boat, flood in the boat. All the food got wet. They didn't die from the water, but all the food got wet and there's no way to eat, and they were in the middle of the ocean. There was no radio like today. We're talking in a previous life. And they all died from starvation, and she was one of them. So since she died from starving, now in her life, she still has this psychological problem of thinking, I'm about to die. Now, obviously, it doesn't come from her conscious, because she has plenty of food, and she sees the food, and she understands that she has plenty of food. So we see that the subconscious is stronger than the conscious. It's affecting our life much, much more than actual conscious. So if a person has a contradiction between his conscious and subconscious, most likely always the subconscious will determine where he's going to go. I give you an example what I mean. There's one Israeli guy on television, supposedly he's like a magician, but he has tricks of the mind. So he said, now on prime time on television, this is what he says. He said, I'm going to commercials right now, but before we go to commercials, I'm going to show you now, I'm going to tell each one of you to pick up a number. Choose a number from 0 to 100. And everyone will choose a number. Right after the commercial, I come back and I tell you what number you picked. There's a million people watching him. What's the odds that everyone will choose the same number? What kind of a joke it is? How are you going to say one number and everyone would say, yeah, I picked up that number? And he said, I'm fully confident I'll be able to tell you, okay, everyone sit nervous, one commercial, another one, move on already. He finally comes back and he said, all of you chose the number 23. Now I saw someone send me this email and I chose number 23. I said, how can it be? I was shocked. I said to myself, wow, how did he know? And probably, if he was so confident, then probably millions of people chose number 23. So he said to us, now you're probably wondering, how can it be? So let me show you the trick. So now they do slow motion. When I spoke to you before the commercial and I say each one of you should pick a number, the second that you started, a second after I said to pick up a number, all of you started to think about a number. One of the people, he was standing on the street and thousands of people behind him walking, like Tel Aviv somewhere, and he's standing with a microphone in front of a camera, and people behind him walk, but no one looks at the people, everyone stares at him. And the second that he said to pick a number, a person walked by behind him with a t-shirt of the basketball player Michael Jordan, number 23. That second, he walked quickly, it was less than a tenth of a second. He was walking. The subconscious recorded it. It was a collision between the conscious and the subconscious. Subconscious always win. Everybody in Israel picked up number 23. It's amazing. So what do we see from here? Now we begin to understand the pasuk, לא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. And what does it say? A person has to be very careful what he sees. Now a person say, I'll make tshuva. So I saw bad things, I'll make tshuva. The tshuva corrects the action, yes, but it doesn't clean the mind. That's why the Baalei Tshuva have a lot of crises after they become religious, much more than people who were from all their life. Because people who kept their eyes, watched their eyes, they didn't go to bad places, they didn't see things that a person should not see, their mind is clean. All it needs that they see it once, and their mind will never be the same. in learning, in thinking, in davening, will never be the same. Sometimes we see people can focus, they don't have any dirt in their mind. Sometimes we see people, no matter what they do, they still have memories from the past. Why? Once it goes in, there's no way to delete it. Not only that, we can hypnotize a person now and see all the dirt that he saw 500 years ago will come up now, today. Why? That's it. Whatever is recorded, it's recorded. For good and for bad. If he saw some big tzaddik, look at the face of the Vilna Gaon 250 years ago, the Ramchal, it affected him good. It's also still in his conscious, it's subconscious, recorded now. Not only that, we know that we have many verses in Tehillim or in a Tanakh, in a Navi, that shows that the entire body is serving Hashem. What do you mean? Every organ of the body, every movement of a person is an indication of how righteous he is or not. Not only that, we know, and I saw in my own eyes, that the big Chachamim, the big righteous Talmidei Chachamim, they were able to detect a person by one or two movements that he made. One time I was in Yeshiva Or HaChaim in Yerushalayim, the Yeshiva of Baalei Tshuva, very serious Yeshiva, it's like 8 floors, full of hundreds of Baalei Tshuva. And in those days my cousin used to teach there, so I came to visit him, so we sit with him, we learn a little bit, me and my friend. And then, you know how it is, he sits, he talks to us, and there's a line of people with a Gemara, they're asking him questions, Rashi, Tosfot, he answers one after the other. Well, this one Yevamos, this one Kiddushin. He answer. Then one of the guys came and said, Rabbi, somebody wants to get accepted to the yeshiva. So he said to him, where is he? He said, standing outside. It's far away, very far. So he said to him, make him walk 10 steps inside to the yeshiva that I see him. So I see a guy, I'm from far away. He walks few steps in, and then he said to him, okay. Then the guy came, he said, well, what should I tell him? He said, tell him he can come tomorrow at 9 o'clock, he got accepted. So I said to him, this is how you accept people? He's a drug addict, a murderer. He said, well, don't you know it's all Chazal? That how a person look and walk and move, you know everything about him already. If he's humble, if he's not, if he's arrogant or not, angry, not, honest, not. Every move a person does, you can see right away about him. But most people in the world do not know it. But believe it or not, there are secular people who learn the body language and they know about you more than rabbis. Because that's their territory. All their life they learn about it. Not only that, colors affecting the judgment of the mind. If somebody wants to sell you something and I invite you to his office, they have a special room for sales. He won't do it in his own office. He'll take you to a room that they painted everything with light blue. The colors who relax a person and makes him more generous. The colors who makes the person more angry, more nervous, more uptight. He wants to think about it. It's amazing how it affects us. And it's, of course, everything that we learn today about body language all comes from the Torah. Let's give a few examples. The body, Chazal say, it's like an open book. An open book. You know, when the book is open, you can see already the book. What is it about? You don't need to open it. It's already open. The more static is the organs we're talking about. You know, we have 248 organs in a body, right? We're not including the ligaments because it's all internal. We're talking 248 איברים, 248 organs. The more static the organ is, right? Like shoulders, you don't really move the shoulders so much. You move the hands. You move your legs. You move your head. But the shoulder it's almost static. You can move it a little bit, but doesn't have a range of movements. So the more static they are, the more they play a big role in the reaction that comes from the subconscious. What comes from the conscious is the organs of the body that moves a lot, like the head, the mouth, a person moves his hand, the legs, whatever. That shows a lot about what you want to say and what you think from your conscious. But what comes from the subconscious usually reflects, that's the right word, reflects by the movement on the static organs, like the shoulders and other organs in the body that usually don't move. It's very interesting. So they look not relevant, but they're actually showing exactly everything that goes through your mind, and even things that you're not aware of. Remember, your mind has 2 channels, what you're aware of, what you're not aware of. One time, if you remember in one of the lecture, I like to give these examples. When a person came from work, he got off the bus and he's walking towards his home, and he's staring on the floor, and he walks and walks for 10 minutes, and then his wife, when he comes home, his wife say to him, "What, are you in love with the floor? Why are you staring on the floor for 10 minutes like you're looking for something when you walk all the way home?" So he said to his wife, "What's wrong with you? I didn't look at the floor. What do I care about the floor? Well, I look sand, some garbage on the floor. That's what I care about. I was thinking about what's going on at work. So I'm thinking about work. My head was down." So then she said to him, "Can you tell me one of the things you stare at the floor? Can you describe one thing you saw, you paid attention to?" He said, "Nothing. I wasn't paying attention to anything." 5 minutes later, she wanted to hang a picture. She was looking for a nail all over. You know how it is. When you need it, you never find it. So she couldn't find it. And then he said, "Oh, you're looking for a nail? Let me go get you a nail." He ran quickly downstairs. He go by the bus stop. He pick up a nail from the floor, and he comes and he give it to her. So she says to him, "I asked you before if you can describe one thing you saw on the floor." Nothing. All of a sudden, you know exactly 500 steps from the house where the nail is? How can it be? That means every tiny thing on the floor, it's in your mind. That you are able to know exactly where this nail is. It's like a coin in the middle of the ocean. You knew exactly where the nail is. Who pay attention to nails on the floor? What do we see? That it's all recorded, but it only comes from the subconscious into the conscious in the moment that you need it. The moment that you need it, it comes. You don't need it, you won't be able to remember it. It's very interesting. If someone will tell you, "Can you tell me who you met a week ago in a convention?" You don't remember. But when you see the person, right away you remember, "Oh, I know this person, I met him in a convention." But 5 minutes before, you don't remember because it wasn't relevant. Now he came, "Oh, I know this guy." This is how it works. So now, let's see some of the interesting things about the body. This is what it says. It says like this. The body language, it's a reflection of the internal personality of the person. Also, is speech, the way a person speaks, it actually reflects what's inside. But the external actions that a person has, if a person would change them, it would also change his inside. Which means, if a person usually has a certain movement with his hands that shows that he's an arrogant person. For instance, he walks like this. The hands are spread far from the body. They move like this. Even though it's not comfortable to walk like this, but there are people who walk like this in the street. It shows that they want to be, like they say in America, want to be cool. He wants to feel everyone will give him attention. I am the balabait here. That's in his mind, but he doesn't realize. It's not that he thinks, "Oh, how do I get attention? Let me walk like this." No. Because he's arrogant and proud, that's the way it automatically goes. Now, if someone comes to him and says, "Why are you walking like a bully like this? You think you own the world?" And they tell him, "You have to change the way you look. It doesn't look good, especially if you're Ben Torah, you're Baal Tshuva." So what happened? Now he's in his mind, he's thinking, "Oh, my father told me not to go like this. My Rabbi, don't walk like this." So automatically, he already starting to pay attention to his actions. So he's starting to walk like a Rabbi now, you know? Then 1, 2, 3 months, all of a sudden you see his personality changing. This is what the Torah says, "Acharei ha'peulot nimshachim halevavot." It's a bomb what I threw here, if you really understand what I just say, which means the external behaving can affect the entire personality in the inside of a person. "Acharei ha'peulot nimshachim halevavot." So now if a person forces himself to behave in a certain way, it's going to affect his inside. Also the way you dress. If a person wears shorts, sleeveless shirts, walks in a certain way, certain yarmulke, all kinds of things, then his behaving is in a certain way. Now once you come and tell him, "We want you to dress like a Rabbi." "No, it's hard, this." "No, you have no choice. You have to dress like this." 2, 3 months later, you see it's a different person. The uniform changed the person. Not only in the religious world, in the army. Why do you think they made uniform? They want every soldier to have certain skills. The only way to achieve it is to make uniform. Also in secular schools, when I was a kid, everyone had to wear light blue shirt. No one was allowed to come with any clothes he wants. Everyone has to have the same shirt. You came with a different shirt, it wasn't exactly like they want, they send you back home. Go and change your shirt and come back. No excuses. You don't have, go buy. You cannot come to school. Why? People behave 1,000,000 times better than today. As soon as they cancel that, freedom, everyone looks for freedom. As soon as they cancel that, 99% of the students, drugs, alcohol, parties, nobody learns, the math skill went down. Why? It's affecting the inside of the person. You want freedom? Freedom means rebellions. I want to rebel against everything. Once everyone dressed like a prisoner, over here you have rules, my friend. You're just another screw in a system. Everyone comes with his outfit. I'm a man de Amar here. I'm another Rabbi here. I'm another teacher. And this is affecting the subconscious of a person and the way he behaves. His confidence, things he allowed himself to say, and so on. Okay. Let's see some more examples. When a baby is born, we see something very interesting about him. His whole body is shrinked. His body is shrinked, his legs is up, his knees are close to the face, his hands and shoulders are closed, his head is between his hands, between his arms. Everything is shrinked. You see him the way he's in crib, that's how it is. He cannot really stretch. He has to be folded like this. Why? Why is it? Because when a person comes to the world, right, he doesn't have anything to express. He doesn't have opinions. He doesn't have what to say. He doesn't have a matter of confidence. None of the things that when you spread your arms and your body, it's showing who you are. But so far, you have nothing to express. That's why you very shrink. And also you are closed from any connection to society. That's why you're like this. Once you're starting to get your mind developed and you begin to understand what's happening in the world, slowly his closed hands are opening up. And his entire everything, all the arms and the legs stretch and so until he stands and is able to walk and he becomes a regular adult. This is very interesting. Now, when a more person is stretched and open, that means I have more expressions to make expressions. Not only that, now he's communicating with his environment, what he couldn't do when he was a baby. Inside the brain of a person, there's two sides. There is the right side and there is the left side. What is the right side? The right side of the brain, the brain is like cut in the middle. If you saw how a brain looks, it's like a cut in the middle. So the right side of the brain, it's responsible for the spirituality. Koach HaMufshat it's called. What's the right word in English? Koach HaMufshat, the expendable power, if it makes sense to you. And the left side, the left side, it's the power, the actual power, the reality power, connection to reality, to materialism, to everything that we have to do in this world. So the right side, it's more into the spirituality, and the left side is more to the physical life. When a person is speaking and is very calm in his voice, and his voice is low, is not excited with his voice, is stable, but his hands are moving, he's shaking, moving, or his legs, when he sits on the couch, you see his legs is constantly moving, or his hands, but he talks very calm. How can it be? It's a contradiction. Contradiction between the speech to the movement of the body. What does it teach us? It teaches us that this person has no completion with himself. Inside of him, he is not complete with his decision, with his behaving, and he's hiding a serious problems that he has. And it's all an act. The way he speaks is trying to cover from very serious problem that he has in his heart, in his head. And sometimes it's also a reflection of dishonesty. When a person is dishonest, so his body and speech contradicting each other. The speech is calm and nice and quiet, and the body is very moving and nervous. Contradiction. Then when a person is constantly moving his sweat like me, like this. I do it because I sweat, I'm boiling from inside. No matter winter, summer, fine. So when you sweat, you clean. You don't want it to start dripping on your eyes. We are now talking about someone that doesn't sweat. And sometimes we see he takes his hand and go like this. You know how the Americans go, whoosh. They go like this, 20 below zero. They go like this. Why? What's this? This is a sign that the person who does it is something that bothers his mind seriously. And he's dying to get rid of it. But he doesn't realize he's doing it. While he speaks, he moves his hand across his forehead, like trying to clean the problem that he has in his mind. I wish I can get rid of this problem. And it comes from the subconscious, which is very interesting because in Mishnah Brura, in Siman Tzadik Chet, it says that before a person daven, ya'avir et yado al mitzcho 3 times. The Mishnah Brura says, if a person comes to daven, you want to clean your mind, before you start, go like this 3 times. It's gula to clean the mind from bad thoughts. It's very interesting. It falls exactly how it is, with the body language. A person that touches his nose a lot when he speaks, goes like this, it's a sign that he's lying. What he say right now is not fully the truth, or none of it is the truth. Yeah? We're not talking about someone that eats his nose. Touching his nose for no reason. But that's a sign that this, while he's speaking right now, sheker dover. He's not saying the truth. A person that put his hand on his mouth when he talks. You see, sometimes they mumble and they close their mouth, like they try to block their own mouth. He's trying to say something, at the same time he constantly put his hand like this. That's a sign that he has no self-confidence. He's very embarrassed to talk now. He's not secure next to the person he talks. Sometimes you see people behave like this only in certain situations. If he speaks in front of an ignorant person, he's very confident. Well, when he comes in front of a smart, intelligent person, all of a sudden he becomes like this. Why? He understands his level. Over here I can be a big shot. Over here I'm nothing. When I'm nothing, when I finally was forced to talk, that's why they say, Makom she'en ish ishtadel liot ish. When there's no one there, you try to be someone. But when there's good people there, they're smart, sit and be quiet. Better not to go like this. The idea is depend where you are. So that's a sign that this person has no confidence whatsoever, and that's why his wish from his subconscious. If you tell him, why are you blocking your mouth when you talk? He says, I block my mouth when I talk? What do you mean? I say everything I wanted. But he doesn't realize it comes from his subconscious, because right now he's suffering while he's talking, that he has to talk. He would prefer not to say anything, but he's in this situation. Then, a person that spread his leg, open in wide spreading like this, when he talks, it symbolizes that I'm stable and I will stick to my opinion and you cannot move me an inch to the right or to the left. Don't waste your time. I will be stubborn as much as it's possible, and I'm not willing to change. Spreading the leg, which means I'm standing stable and solid, and I'm not shaky. So the more you spread your leg, the more stable you are. So that he doesn't realize. I had a commander like this in the army, a Yemenite guy. When we used to come and say, Rafi, give us a break, you killed us today. So he used to go like this. Open like this. No! Finish. There's nothing he can do. 2 problems. One Yemenite, one spreading his legs. There's no chance whatsoever to change his opinion. So, if you ask him today, do you remember how you used to spread your legs and put your hands on your shoulders, on your hips? He said, I used to spread my legs. What are you talking about? Yes. Why? No, you're not going to move me an inch. There's nothing to talk about. Someone, the head is called, Chazal say, Rosh La'evarim. It's the head of all the other organs, the most important. So, we have a halacha that in the old days, when a person used to die anywhere he was, he buys his territory. The body fell on the street, that's why you have to bury him. Put a sign, you bury him there. Met konet mekomo. Today we have cemeteries, everything is organized. But in the old days, he dies somewhere in the desert, you make a road, you bury him, you put a sign over there, finished. Now the question is, what happened if someone chopped his head off? In the old days, they used to chop people's head. They had swords, very, 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 very sharp swords. Like this, before you realize, the head became basketball. It's rolling somewhere. So the body is here, the head is 10 steps away. Now you're thinking, where should I bury him? We have a rule in the Torah, we always follow the majority. So the body is 90% size, the head is 10%. So we have to go where the body is. Comes the Torah and say, no. The body is everything. That's where the soul was. The head is where the soul was. That's the human being, the face, the head. The body is not so important. Over here, you don't go by size. You go by quality, not quantity. You have to bury him where his head is. So there's no argument. The head is the center of the personality of a person. That's why in Judaism, a person is not allowed to cover his face. Face, panim means inside in Hebrew. Panim, it reflects the inside of a person. Everyone has to see who you are. They want to do business with you. They want to learn with you. They want to invest by you. They have to see who you are. It's illegal to block your face. Like the Arab thought it's going to be more modest if they cover their face. They didn't know. The Torah says a woman who covers her face, she's a prostitute. She has what to cover. But a decent woman, what does she have to cover her face? She has to be modest with her body, and that's it. The face is open. So, now, so the head had a separate nerve system than the body. The body has a nerve system. It goes from the spine, spread down, left, right, and it goes and sends the nerve. That's why you have pain, slide disc, it sends pains to the side, goes down to the hip, to the leg. It's like veins, like little veins of nerve, and they go everywhere, and that's how you feel pain. But in the head, it doesn't come from the spine up. The head has a set of 12 couples, 12 doubles, which means 24 nerves altogether. 12 times 2, sets of 2, 12 sets. So we see that the head is so important that Hashem made the head a separate nerve system than the body, to show you the head is a separate entity, even though it's all connected, but the head is different than the body. What else? You know, we have 5 senses. 4 of them in the head, 1 in the hands. That's why the tefillin is divided. We have 4 parshiot on separate klafim. Inside the head, 4 klafim, 1, and 1. But in the hand is all on 1 klaf. All 4 on 1 klaf. 1 for the hands, 4 for the seeing, smelling, tasting, and hearing. 1 for each, very interesting. So now, it says like this. When it's called, by the scientists, it's called carnal nerves. That when a person moves his head, his mouth, his eyes, his tongue, his lips, everything he moves in his hand comes from these 12 sets of nerves. The rest of the body comes from a separate nerve system. Okay, so it's very interesting. Now, the body is material, like this world, olam hazeh. This world, you have physical body, you eat, you go to the bathroom, you do things. The head is olam haba. It's the spiritual part of the person. That's where the soul is. The mind, the soul, it's all spiritual. And the neck is like Chazal say, ha'olam hazeh prosdor la'olam haba. Going up from the body through the narrow neck into the head. That's like a sign of the neshama goes from this body into the next world. From this world into the next world. When a person stands still and stretch himself up, the head is a little bit towards up, not straight, going up, not too much. Too much is good, but a little bit up is not good. What does it show? It shows pride, lack of gratitude, ungrateful. So it shows ungratefulness. Fear to lose his status. He doesn't want to lose his status. He's happy from what he is, like everyone bow down to him. Chazal say, someone who walks like this, with his face a little bit high and stretched body like this, dochek raglei shechina. It's like, it's in a parable, like Hashem is walking and you come and you push his legs out and you want to take his place. That's like an expression, parable of a person who walks like that. So what does it show you? It shows you that the Gemara said that a person should not walk arba amot bekuma skufa. Person should always be down to earth, not like this, like a master. שנאמר, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו, this is in Kiddushin Lamed Aleph. מלוא כל הארץ כבודו, the honor in this world belongs to the Creator, not to us. When a person moves his head to the sides when he talk, like this, sometimes you see people, they go left, right. Of course, you ask them, you know that when you speak, you go like this? I go like this. Doesn't realize it comes from the subconscious. So what does it show us? That he testifies on himself that he's not here and not there. I'm not with Reuven, I'm not with Shimon. I hear both of you. I don't really know to decide who's right. Also, a drunk person that loses his mind also walks like this, with his head. Why? Because he doesn't know where he is. I'm going right, going left. He just walks without thinking. Person that thinks, every step of him you see that he thinks. Where do I go? How do I go? Fast, slow, jumping, running, big steps, small steps. It's indicated about his mental situation. The way he walks, you see right away. If he's nervous, not very in a rush, he's under pressure, you see right away. But the drunk, always like this, slow, the head is like this, he's barely walking straight. Why? He doesn't know where he is. Same thing when a person is not drunk, but he moves his head, which means I don't know if I'm here or there. Also, it shows that he's lightheaded. Is not a stable person in his mind. Also, it's easy to be persuaded and to convince him to do things. Easy to affect him. And usually, whenever there's an argument, he will always agree 50% with one side and 50% with the other side. He will never be determined, for sure. Someone like this cannot be a good rabbi. He cannot pick up a side. This is allowed, this is not, he's right, he's wrong, he can't say. Always want to be from the United Nations. You know, let me be good with everyone. Then, what else we have? Someone that his head is down with the neck forward, like this. When he talks, he goes like this. What does it show us? It shows about certainty. He's certain. It shows that he's very ready. He's alarmed. It shows that he's listening to every detail. He's a person that is very practical. Right away move into action. He's caring. He cares about what's happening. It's not cold and indifferent. He's participating with the public in a problem. He's gentle. He's sensitive. But that's the problem here. Also at the same time, he can symbolize some opposite. For instance, he can show that he's a person that sticks his nose to other people's business. He's very curious. He is reacting even when he has to sit and be quiet. He is suspicious. He is oversensitive. He is ready to react right away and do the wrong thing when it's not supposed to. He is aggressive, is stubborn, and it's much worse when the hands is on the hips. So if he's going like this, that's one problem. But if he goes like this, then you're finished. You know, you have a serious problem. This is it. And if you see, I know when people see it, then if they don't know body language, they don't recognize what they see. If a person is bored from the lecturer's speech, how the speaker knows if the people like him or not? We're not talking someone who worked 10 hours physical job, so they come to the lecture, they fall asleep. You know, the speaker came, so you see an audience. So you see one person in the middle is sleeping. So he said to the one next to him, wake him up. He said, no. So wake him up. He said, no, you put him to sleep, you wake him up. You know? So no, we're not talking about someone like that. We're talking now people who sit. So now, if they enjoy the lecture, they put leg on top of the leg, they put their hands like this, they smile, they lean back, they relax. Very good. Or another way to show that they're listening to every word, they put their hands like this and their head forward. Or they have their hand on the side like this, thinking. But if they're not interested in a lecture, they sit in the edge of the chair and their legs is 90 degrees folded, straight, and the two hands is on their knees, and they 50% rising already. There's one more thing, they fall from the chair already. Why? They're showing you, they're not realizing it. Tell them, I know this lecture got on your nerve. What? What are you talking about? Trying to be polite. Yeah, I know that you're suffering, so I made the lecture short. How did you know? If you were ready to get up already. That's why you moved to the edge of the chair. It doesn't realize. Then he's showing me a video later. He said, wow, I'm so obvious. When he did it, he didn't realize. Now let me give you another example. If two people speak, Reuven and Shimon is speaking, and a third individual is coming towards them. How do you know if they like him or not? Let's say you're a fourth individual who watching this scenario. How do you know if they like him or not? If they sit face to face and he comes from that side, if they don't like him or they're not interested that he will join their conversation, their right shoulder facing him will close up without realizing. They talk, you see how they make a little move, but then of course they're not paying attention. It's the subconscious who makes this reaction. So they go like this. Someone who knows to read body language, you see it, he knows, oh, these two don't like him, or they're speaking about a secret. One way or the other. If they like him, as soon as he walks towards them, the opposite, they open up. And you're welcome. But believe me, they're very deep into their conversation. Later you tell them, I can tell you if you like him or not. When Shimon came, you didn't like him. But then when this guy, David came, you liked him very much. How do you know? You read our minds? No, I read your body. I know which one you like, which one you don't like. Sometimes it's a problem. Because like now I walked in the airport in Europe. I saw right away which guy cannot stand me, which guy actually can tolerate me. It's very bad. It was 8 out of 10. They were ready to kill me. So, body language is not so comfortable to be around. When you don't know it, you're ignorant. You walk, you see Ahmed, Muhammad, Chris, Christine. You don't feel intimidated. But when you see their body language, starting from the teller working for the airline and the person who put your suitcase, everyone around you, you see how they move, how they look at you, how they move their face. You know right away what they're thinking. That's sometimes nice, sometimes bad, depending where you go. Now, another thing is, if the head is always tilted to the side, doesn't matter left or right, but always had like a move like this, to the side, when the person talks or he listens, what does it teach us? That is listening very carefully. He cares about what you say. He receives what you say. He agrees, he accepts it. He's giving respect to others that talks to him. He's sensitive, right? But it could also be that he is embarrassed, has problem with his self-confidence. He is a person who followed people but not leading. He's not a leader, he's a follower. He has cracks in his faith. He's not confident, so he has problem in his emunah. And he doesn't know what to answer. This move is like, I don't know really what to say. So, a person that when he speaks, he gives hints. He likes to give hints with his hands, with his hand, with his body, with his head, like this. So the question is, why doesn't he? No, we're not talking that he doesn't want to stop his speech in the middle. Well, let's say there's no camera, he can stop as much as he wants. Why he doesn't say clearly what he say? Why he likes to give hints? There are people like this. The reason for that is that it's lack of courage. He can't really say what he wants to say, but he also cannot not say. So he found a way to compromise with what he wants to do and what he's afraid to do. So he say it in a 50% way, by hinting. But why? Because if you're not going to like my hint, I can claim that I didn't mean it. If I say it, there's no return. So the subconscious doesn't let him say it clearly. So he's hinting and he says, oh no, I didn't mean it. But it's also something else. It shows that he's hiding a part of the truth. He doesn't want to talk, so he's speaking by giving hints. Or there's one third option, that he is not convinced if what he's saying it's the correct thing, or there is anything productive in doing it. So he's not so sure about what it is, so he gives it in a 50% version, not 100%. Now we have to understand why all over the world, wherever you go, all over the world, you understand if people go like this, that means yes. They go like this, that means no. How do they know? How all people in the world, when there was no internet, no telephone, no movies, no nothing, everywhere you go, you land in Zimbabwe, Idi Amin over there, no, it's in Uganda. He goes like this, you know it's yes. You go like this, it's no. We don't know his language. Two people try to communicate with sign language. You go, yeah, like this, you go, you know what he says. You go like this, it's no. How do you know? Maybe it's the opposite. Why we never find a country that this is yes and this is no? I used to come with little children say, can I have ice cream? I say yes. They go crazy. Yes or no? I say no. To confuse them, but I don't know what to go by. But what I say, what my head is. Contradiction. And everywhere you go, people go like this or like this. Why? It's also from the subconscious of humanity. Like this means a straight line. You're not going out of your line. This is the body, you're staying like this, in a pipe of the body. So that's straight line means yes, honesty. When you go like this, it's breaking out of the path. You're going either left or right. Going to the side means breaking it, not straight anymore. That means no. Yes and no, honest or not honest. This is interesting, how the mind of a person always reacts like this. Then, when a person, a human being, once he becomes an adult, he can lock his body in a very straight, stretch situation. From head to toe, complete straight line. Not like this, not shrink, not complete, like the soldier has to stand. But the monkey can never stand straight. The monkey DNA is 99 point something like the human being. Same face, same everything. Some people look more like monkeys, some less, but overall, it's more or less the same. But your monkeys always shrink, always bend down. His hands are always not, you never see a monkey that go like this. They're always a little bit like this, and the legs is like this, and the back, everything, they're always like this. You ever see a monkey that can stand like this? You never find. Why? Why is it? The answer is, what's the difference between a person and a monkey? The Torah say, "Mutar ha'adam min ha'behema ayin." Person don't have any advantage on the animals physically. They're all greater than us in every physical aspect, except the divine, pure soul. Milvad ha'neshama ha'teorah. The monkey doesn't have a divine soul. A human being has a divine soul. The body is material, is always tilting towards where it came from. Adam, Adama. Adama, it's the land, the ground. The body came from the ground, so the body wants to go to the ground. The law of gravity pulling the body down. But the soul wants to go up to where it came from, to heaven. So the soul always go higher. Not only that, if a person now is 180 pounds, once he died, he became 185 pounds. Did you know it? 184, 182. Why? Because up to now, there's the laws of gravity that determine your weight. If the law of gravity will be 1.2%, instead of x times 2, double x. So now it will become much heavier. You stand on a scale. If you're 180, you become 360. The law of gravity. That determines the weight, the size. There's few things here. When the gravity pulls the body always down, the soul always push up. So it takes away a pound or two from the weight of a person, because the soul is always rising, like gas. Like you put gas in a balloon, they always go higher. So this is the soul is pushing up, and the body is going down with the law of gravity. So it's a contradiction of two powers. So it takes away a few pounds from the weight of the person. That's what the Gemara said when Rabbi Yochanan wanted to go to surrender to the Romans. So he had a nephew, he was the head of the gangster. His name was Abba Sikra. So he said to him, how many years you going to make us suffer here? 3 years the Romans made an ambush around Jerusalem. Nobody comes in and out, no food. We're dying here. Let us surrender. We'll pay them taxes. We'll continue with our life. The stress is killing us. So he was the head of the mafia. So he told him, pretend you're dead. Put like a dead rat in your bed. People would smell, then they think you die. And make sure that only your talmidim, your student, will carry your bed, because they used to bury the bodies out of Jerusalem. The Romans allowed the funerals to go out. So make sure 4 of your students are picking you up. Why? If it would be somebody else, they would know you're not dead. You're too light. Make sure that it's your student that will not tell on us. We can rely on them. Why? But they'll know that you're alive, but they're not going to say a word. But if you bring strangers, they say, hey, wait a minute, it's not that. It means in their days, people could tell the difference if you're alive or not, by if the soul is in the body or not. It's very interesting. So the monkey doesn't have, so he's always shrinking down, like the gravity pulling him down. But the person stands straight, he can go because he's going towards heaven. That's where the soul came from. Then one more thing is like this. The hands is the best tool of the body to express our subconscious. With the hands, you can show every scenario, whatever mood you are, whatever you think, everything can come through the hand. When the way you move them, the way you signal with the hands. The hands are close to the heart. They come right next to the heart. They come in the level of the heart. By the way, you should note, the higher the organ of the body, the more important it is. You go from the leg, and higher and higher, you come to the heart, the liver, and then until you get to the head. So, it says like this. That's why also it says that we have the liver, kaved, right? Then we have the lev, right? And then we have the mind. So, if a person goes with the right order like this, that means everything is fine. So the brain is above the heart and above the liver. That's the right way. But if it's the other way, I become kelev, a dog, mixing the orders. That's it. You cannot have anymore the right judgment. So just before we finished, it says like this. The hands are very close to the heart and to the head. And they express the best way what goes in our subconscious. That's why almost every important thing in our life goes through the hands. For instance, friendship. When you shake someone's hand. All over the world, when people want to make friendship or agreement or partnership or marriage or anything like this, where does it go? Shaking hands. Why? Why I have to give you my hand? What for? I will talk. It's enough. Okay, let's be partners. Why it go with handshake? And people feel committed when they shook someone's head. If they only promise with their mouth, most people care what they say. If it comes with handshake, even in the Torah, it obligates you a lot more. It's tkiyat kaf, it's like swearing. Why is it? The hand has 14 parts. Yad, Yud, Dalet, 14. Each finger is 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one, 2. Right? So it's 14. 2 hands together, you're stronger. 14 and 14, it's koach. 28. Yud, it's 14. Yud, together, now it's power, strength. One hand can pick up 5 pounds. This hand can pick up 5 pounds. 2 hands together can pick up 50 pounds, not 10. You understand? Give you another example. Take 2 straws. You break them in a minute. Take first straw, 4, 8, that. Then you take a bunch of straws. Even anything you try with a hammer, you won't bend them down. They're together now. So now, when you shake someone's hand, you and him, 14 and 14, it becomes a partnership, power. One partner can do X amount in a business. 2 can do a lot more than 2 times. But it's also yadid. Yad and yad, yud daled, yadid, yadidut. Yadid, it's friendship. You see, that's only in the holy language. So everybody understands once we shake hands. That's why, like when you have a goy that is worshipping an idol, not a goy tzaddik. Goy tzaddik is no problem. But if he's a goy who bow down to his idols and he comes to shake your hand, it's better not to shake his hand. But you don't want to offend him. What are you going to do? Someone reach his arm to you. What are you going to tell him? If it's a woman, you can say, well, I'm not shaking women's hand from religion reason. So they understand that. It just happened to me. I went to a doctor's office in Canada, And the girls there, I guess, either never saw a religious person, or maybe the religious people over there shake women's hand. I don't know, one of the two, because every woman in the office came to shake my hand. So 3 in a row, as I'm very sorry, But they didn't get offended. They started to laugh. They didn't know how to get out of the situation. It was a little bit embarrassing. So I said to the doctor, which is one of my students, I said to him, well, you didn't teach your girls yet that you don't reach your arm to someone with a yarmulke? You have to know. Whatever. But let me explain to you how it is now here. So when you shake hands, it creates partnership, it creates friendship. Then when a person uses his hand, he claps. If he claps like this, he's a little excited. If he claps like this, he's much more excited, just like the heart. It's like the mirror of the heart. The heart, you have the pulse 52. Normal, not nervous. Once you either fear, or you're excited, or you're happy, your pulse go very, very, very fast. Also when you drink alcohol, everyone become happy all of a sudden, and the pulse go from 50 to 90 in a minute. And the hands go like this. The hand shows what you feel, everything. Then the prophet Nahum, the Navi Nahum, what did he say? Nahum Gimel, chapter 3, verse 19. This is what he says. Kol shomei shimacha tik'u kaf alecha, tak'u kaf alecha. All the ones who heard what you said will clap their hand for you. Why? The hand shows our mood. Good, bad, we laugh, we're happy, we're not happy. That's why in the audience, you always clap. People clap when someone's sick, or when the plane is landing, people begin to clap. Why? They're so happy, wow, we're not dead. So that's the excitement expressed out. So this is the hands. Also, Chazal say one hand is pushing forward, one is pushing out. And the hand can hit, can be nice, can write, can make things tighter, and many, many things, move things around. So the hand is very significant. So the hand, through the hands, you see a lot what goes through the subconscious. So let's conclude with the conclusion of what we say. It's very recommended in a way to know body language, because you know a lot what's going on. So if you're a speaker, if you're a salesman, if you're a doctor, you interact with people, it will help you a lot more, and you know when they think positive on you, negative, and you know how to improve yourself. If you speak and you see people are bored from their language, they're not going to tell you they're bored, but you see from the way they react, so you change the subject. Some speakers, they have lots of knowledge, but they're not connected to their audience. It's like they see a white wall. They don't. Everyone is sleeping, they still talk, and like nothing has happened. Why? They're not connected. That's why there's something can be the smartest speaker, writes book. All the speaker learns from him, and every beginner brings more audience than him. And I know a case like this. He is the source of everything the speaker speak. When he comes to speak, 5 people come. Why is it? Because he doesn't connect with his audience, and they are bored. The other speaker passes the same information. He does it with better charisma, better connection. He knows what to say when. He knows how to change. He doesn't stick too long in one thing. That's because he connects to his audience. So people who connect to their audience, they're very much more successful. Also salespeople. Salespeople that people like them, it's helped more than the actual sale. You can come and sell a product, nobody cares about this product. They like you, they buy the product. And that's why people with charisma, they're the best salesmen. You can sell ice to the Eskimos if you know how to communicate. And manners and the way you move and things that you say affecting the mind of a person, and it's affecting the subconscious also to affect his decision. So this is a whole Torah by itself. So much to know. Also very important, for instance, when you come and you want to teach your kids, so you start with a joke. Everyone laugh for a minute, and then the shiur, the 1 hour learning, will be much better than if you start right away to go to the point. Why is it? Because it relaxes all the nerves of a person. Some kind of chemical in the brain, it releases, and it's affecting the entire body. A person is more focused, is more interested, is willing to cooperate. But if he comes from stress into the shiur, right away it's affecting his learning abilities. So this is the Gemara said, that Milta de Bdichuta, one of the Amoraim, he always started his shiur with a joke first, and then after that they go into the serious learning. So we spoke a little bit. Of course, there's a lot more to say. I don't want to keep you here, it's Shabbos almost. But just that people, you now or later when they watch this lecture, they get the point. The point is that remember, there's the soul, and the soul is divided to two different categories. The conscious and the subconscious. And all the subconscious is include your entire life. And when we come up to the trial in front of Hashem, after all the reincarnations, they are all combined into one long movie. Right now we only interact with what we know in our conscious. We don't know what our subconscious has, what's recorded there, what's not. It's affecting every moment of our life, but we are not aware of why we did this and why we cry here and why we laugh over there. That's why some people hear a joke, two people are hysterically laughing, and other people wants to cry. How bad is the joke? How is it possible? It's making him laugh so much, and him is almost crying from how boring he is. Sometimes the other way around. Sometimes a person crying, sometimes a person laughing for the same thing. So that's all a continuation from things that are built and recorded in their subconscious. It's affecting our decision, our behaving. We're not always aware where it comes from, but the more we learn about it, the easier our life will be. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.